Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Taking a quick look again here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. Quickly to note, not much has changed. We kind of double bottomed out here where the price action is tentatively bouncing off this lower fib level here, but I don't really think, I think it's a little premature to celebrate just because we're still underneath the cloud here. So we'll talk about that. We'll jump into some backend data here. In fact, this is the most recent time frame here for the last 7 days of trading. We can kind of see still a heavy concentration at 40,000. I will show you some CME gaps here in a moment, I think that are important to understand just because it's some back-end things we don't normally see or pay attention to. But 39,750 is approximately that heavy liquidation level. I wouldn't be surprised if the whales push the price action down there either before or after tomorrow's data. Okay, because again, we actually have a Fed meeting tomorrow. Please be on your toes when it comes to that. We got a decent amount of liquidation between 45 and 46,000 starting to build up. But I think that is a lower concern than the price action going down further here. Let's talk about what I was referring to here, basically with CME gap and the futures. So take a look here. This is actually supposed to be red. Let's go ahead and change the color of this guy. And just note that this is a CME gap that has been unfilled. The price wicked down almost exactly to 40,400. And of course, we haven't seen that get filled yet. And once more, that is just a gap that took place back on December 1st, rather, when the price action shot up pretty fast. We had a CME gap over the weekend effectively, so those things typically get filled, and I still have yet to see one that hasn't, minus, again, you got to recognize there's still a larger one still down here as low as, what is it, I think it was about 20,000, somewhere in that range. This is not the right chart for it, but this does give you perspective though, just to understand that this is an important level to understand. Oh, yeah, there it is, right there at about low 20,000 range, okay? Again, for the most part right now, we can kind of see that that's potential reality. So just be mindful that is in the back end there. Not trying to scare you, just trying to be, I guess, big picture-esque. Make sure you understand what's going on. And there's probably going to be a little bit further downside. Okay, so daily time frame, we don't really need to note too much here. We did close in a doji candle, which typically kind of lets us know that it's fairly indecisive. The simple way to understand doji candles is that they're typically a sign of reversal. Not always, it just implies that in that 24-hour period, the price opened close to where it closed. In this case, it opened at 41,250 and closed at 41,450. So it is technically higher. It's not really a bad sign, but it's still not a great sign because, again, a double doji candle does spell reversal. So we're hoping today actually to get a doji candle there. Either way, big picture stuff, we'll talk about that later. With this MACD here, we are diverging, of course, still. So keep in mind potential for further downside. It would make sense we get a retest at least at 40,000. I do have some limit orders at 40,000, and then that lower half of the CME gap as well, about 38.5. So just some friendly advice. You may want to consider doing something similar if you're interested in adding to your spot position. That said, we are still above 50 but under 70 on the RSI. Still a nice little sweet spot, nothing too terrible there. And we can see, of course, here when it comes to the SMAs, we're above the 20-day SMA. So this uptrend is still continuing positively, and there's nothing really truly bearish about the scenario at this moment. I know yesterday was a terrible day for some, obviously. We even hit one stop loss in our community, but again, we offset that with 2 or 3 short trades that worked out fairly well. But again, different strokes for different folks. Just depends on who you are. If you're not into the short trading thing, which I get, then consider longs at lower positions. I don't know if we're at the bottom just yet. I hope I'm wrong, though, when the price goes up, honestly. I'm okay with being wrong when it works out favorably for others. But at this point, we can still see that stochastic swinging down, MACD is diverging, minus the moving averages. We're seeing more signs the price is going to pull back further. But again, just to me, those are my thoughts there. Taking a look at the 4-hour time frame, let's quickly note the MACD is trying to converge, but still a little ways away from it. We've got another 12 to 24 hours probably before that occurs if the price action goes sideways. If it does, then we have a better chance of the price action increasing because we're building a volume profile at the current price point. But right now at this point where we're at, we don't have a tremendous amount of volume here. We actually have volume above the price action. So we'll go ahead and see here in a minute what that looks like. What I want to talk about though, just really quick, is the stochastic RSI. We can see this is swinging up and trying to converge and diverge, but we're underneath 50 on the RSI. That's never a great sign. We do not want to see that. Being under 50 on the RSI is never positive, okay? So the long story short here is until we break back up over 50 on the RSI, that to me is going to be somewhat of a bearish sign, and that I'm not going to feel comfortable or confident taking a long position until that happens. Okay? Just something to kind of think about there, all right? So that's kind of what we're looking at here. Overall, nothing too crazy, and honestly, I think it's looking pretty decent over, all things considered. So we'll just go ahead and see what this looks like here again tomorrow morning. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you next one.